Hello everyone, my name is Kez, and today we're going through MBA Season 8 quarterfinals. My opponent, Magmapulse, coach of the Chaos Hydreigons. So I was actually supposed to face Magma in the regular season, but our schedules kind of conflicted and I ended up getting the forfeit win. I'm not going to lie to you, this is the most difficult matchup I'll probably have in the entirety of this league. His team is just so good in general, and then especially into me. Before I get into the matchup, I want to thank Scythe for the mocks this week, and yeah, let's hope I can pull off a win. My team is on the screen, and consists of Hisuian Zorak, Screamtail, Klefki, Araquanid, Kilowattrel, Overquill, Megaglalie, Stunfisk, Terragogoat, Terracarcol, and Warturtle. While my opponent's team consists of Cerulege, Complex Band, to only being Flash Fire, Serena, Comfey, Terra Hisuian Sliggoo, Esparthra, Complex to not be Speed Boost, Obstagoon, Complex to not be Gutsed, Mudsdale, Kingdra, Kecleon, and Nidoqueen, Complex to not be Sheer Forced. Now don't be fooled in thinking all of these mons that are complexed are not good. They are very strong. Especially into me. Cerulege just kind of clicks buttons. Serena is a fantastic spinner for the team and is both great offensively and defensively. Comfey can be an annoying setup sweeper. Hisuian Sliggoo is very good at checking my offensive threats such as Araquanid or Kilowattrel. Esparthra, with its opportunist ability, can make it so my Screamtail cannot set up and win. Obstagoon can hit really hard, especially if I bring webs, which I am this week, with its Defiant ability, or it could just be reckless and do a ton of damage. Mudsdale can be really annoying, especially if it gets multiple stamina boosts. Kingdra is probably the most offensive threat into my team, whether it's just specs or if it's I predict a sniper scope lens focus energy set. Kecleon can be really annoying, whether it's stealth rocking or just using any of its large coverage with protein, or Nidoqueen can be both offensively or defensively really obnoxious. The team we've built this week, I think, is probably the best I could do with the mons I had. I don't think I could have built a better team. Some of it doesn't really work out as I intended it to in the actual match, but I'm still pretty happy with my building. So first off, we have our supposed win clone of this week, Megaglalie. Megaglalie has Refrigerate as his ability. We are 252 attack, 40 defense, 216 speed with a naive nature, return, explosion, freeze dry, and earthquake. Megaglaile's speed is for a max speed Jolly Obstagoon. And we are max attack, which guarantees an OHKO on max HP Serena with return. EQ 2 hit KOs and max HP Eviolite Hisuian Sliggoo before Terra. Freeze Dry will OHKO and max HP Kingdra, and Freeze Dry will 2 hit KO and max HP Mudsdale. And return also OHKOs and max HP Nidoqueen. The rest into our defense. This is such an amazing breaker into my opponent's team. The only thing it really worries of is that there are a couple mons where it doesn't quite get the KOs on, such as the Cerulege, such as the Esparthra, or the Obstagoon. However, it does a whole bunch of damage. Now, the main problem that I have with Megaglalie is that any Scarfers kind of just completely ruin it, because it's not bulky at all. Which is why we're bringing Sticky Web this week. We are Araquanid. As you can see, we are a female. This is just, I put all my mons that could be female as female for a, I think it's Rivalry Nidoqueen. So we are Water Bubble ability, we are 216 HP, 224 attack, and 68 special attack with a relaxed nature, with Sticky Web, Liquidation, Leech Life, and Surf. This is my designated lead. Our attack allows us to 2-hit KO a max HP Serena with Leap Life. The 68 special attack is to actually, I believe, it's rather 2-hit KO or OHKO, max HP, max SPDF, Mudsdale. I don't quite remember the calc off the top of my head. And then the rest in HP. This, although it can't be an amazing breaker in this game, because of the Hisuian Sliggoo, which I do believe is coming, I think it's probably going to be like a Terra Steel, Terra Water, Terra Dragon, Terra Fairy. It has a lot of options to be. It doesn't even really need to Terra. And the Kingdra just completely wall this Araquanid. So its main role is to just get up Sticky Web. We are no item this week to actually live and not take damage from a Poltergeist from Cerulege at +2. It just allows me, because I believe it'll probably be a Sash Cerulege. It could also be Scarf, it could also be Boots, but I feel like Sash makes the most sense into me personally. It just allows it so that I can potentially not take a hit, and then I can get rid of that Mon, or just get up webs for free. Next up, as I've said, we're a little weak to a certain Mon called Kingdra. We can beat it with Omega Glalie, but if it ends up being like a Scarf set or Agility, we're currently losing. So key. We are Red Card as our item, Prankster as our ability, 252 HP, full special attack, and 252 SPDF with a Calm Nature. We are just max. We are T-Wave, Magnet Rise, Dazzling Gleam, and Toxic. This is just a overall good set to try and live a Kingdra hit, and then force it out with a red card. We are T-Wave for things like the Kingdra, or the Asparfra, or even the Cerulege, and then we're Toxic to hit things like the Mudsdale, the Comfey. We cannot hurt the Serena because of Queenly Majesty, and then Dazzle Gleam is just a nice stab option, which can do good damage to the Obstagoon or the Kingdra. We have Magnet Rise, just in case it is like a choiced Nido Queen, and I can potentially get up that Magnet Rise. It just gives me a bit of an extra turn, though I can't hit it. This will just be probably go relatively quickly in the match. That was happening a lot in the mocks, where it died relatively early, but it'd allow my other pieces to start breaking. We then have Hisuian Zorok. We are Expert Belt, 96 HP, full defense, 160 special attack, and 248 speed with a modest nature, Bitter Malice, Sludge Bomb, Hyper Voice, and Focus Blast. The speed allows me to outspeed a max speed Jolly Obstagoon. The special attack is for a no-bulk Cerulege that I can kill with Bitter Blade. Not Bitter Blade. I've put Bitter Blade in my notes. Bitter Malice. And the rest is in HP. Hyper Voice will also 2-hit KO a no-bulk Kingdra or a no-bulk Nido Queen. The Focus Blast will OHKO Obstagoon, 2-hit KO max HP Evilite Sliggoo, and 2-hit KO max HP Assault Vest Kecleon, as long as it stays normal, or if it's like rock or something like that. We have a 31.3% chance to OHKO a no-bulk Comfey with Sludge Bomb. I just thought I'd put that as the note. I guarantee 2-hit KO max HP, but I have a very small chance of just completely OHKOing it, and I do decent damage to an Assault Vest Serena. It's not quite a guaranteed 2-hit KO, but it's relatively close. So this is my main answer to Serena as a spin blocker. Even if I think the Serena is just going to hit me, I always go out into this just because I cannot let it spin in this matchup, as it will be, as soon as my webs are gone, I'm in a massive predicament, and it's very threatening his team into me when I don't have those webs up, and it becomes very difficult for me to win. Our next Mon is our Terra Captain in Gogo. We are Assault Vest, Terra Fairy, 252 attack, 156 SPDF, and 100 speed with Adamant Nature. We have Playrough, Hornleech, Earthquake, and Trailblaze. The speed is for a max speed Kecleon and Hisuian Sliggoo. Max attack Adamant gives me a 94.5% chance to 2-hit KO max HP Hisuian Sliggoo with Eviolite with an EQ. We have a 75% chance to OHKO a no-bulk Kingdra with Terra Fairy Playrough. And our AV allows us, plus the SPDEF, allows us to kind of 1v1 the Scope Lens, Focus Energy Kingdra under webs, or we can 1v1 a Convey with Horn Leech. EQ will 2-hit KO max HP Nidoqueen, and Trailblazer just there to outspeed any like heavy duty boots mons or Scarfers in the webs, as we're relatively slow. I think this can be a really strong mon this week. I just need to be careful, as Play Rough does not 2-hit KO a Serena, so I'll need to chip on that. And I never want to stay in on that because it can just get a spin up on me. Our final one this week, we are Mirror Herb Overquill. Intimidate as our ability, with 72 HP, 180 attack, 4 defense, and 250 speed with a jolly nature. We are Gunk Shot, Crunch, Destiny Bond, and Taunt. The speed is so I can speed tie a max speed Kingdra. We are enough attack to OHKO a max HP Serena with Gunk Shot. A Crunch has a 62.5% chance to OHKO no bulk Cerulege. And Destiny Bond allow us to pick off any slower threatening mons into us. It could be the Hisuian Slugoo, it could be something like the Nidoqueen, something like that, just to get rid of them. And then we have Taunt for the Kingdra, so it can't focus energy on me, or the Slugoo, so it can't start acid armoring up. Then we just have the rest in HP. The Mirror Herb is mainly there for any like setup threats. If Cerulege wants to SD on me, I'll take the attack. If it ends up being like a DD Kingdra, I'll take it. Mainly stuff like that. It was just kind of a check to these potential setup threats, especially if they're like Boots Kingdra DDing up on me can become a major threat. I just liked something to kind of fall back on and have some option for. That is the team this week. I feel like I did a relatively good job when it came to building, and I think I do have something here. As long as I get webs up, I can deal with my opponent's team. Though, perfectly honest to you, my opponent definitely has the matchup this week, and it's very scary. But I'll see you in the battle. Hello everyone, another postcom this week. My opponent did not bring the exact one that I expected, though I feel like that never happens to me whenever I'm building. I was really surprised to see no Hisuian Slugoo, as I thought that had an amazing matchup into me. And I'm slightly saddened by the fact that I did not bring something like Kilowattrel, which could have a good matchup, but he just had a lot of things that was checking my Kilowattrel for it to not come. Definitely some very scary threats. We are sticking with our game plan of Araquanid being our lead. My opponent has pretty much any of these mons that can lead into me, and they all do relatively decently depending on their spreads. If he wants to immediately go Kingdra, my plan is just go into Klefki. If it's something like the Serena, I might elect to go into my Overquill. Otherwise, I probably stay in. I'm not 100% sure my head calc of like a reckless double edge from Obstagoon. That might be a bit scary, and I might need to go Klefki or something like that. But let's just get into the video. So we lead our Araquanid, and our opponent leads Kecleon. My first thought here is, okay, it's going to be a lead Rock Set, or it could possibly be a Body Slam to try and parry me. But at the same time, I don't think during this season, unless I'm wrong, I've ever actually led Araquanid. I believe each time that Araquanid has been like the first thing that comes out, it's actually been Hisuian Zoruk. So I kind of thought that was a very daring move to lock into, and he might do something else like a knock or something like that, or just get up his Stealth Rock. My opponent went no balls and just hits me with a Body Slam, and unfortunately we do get paralyzed. This could be a really terrible spot if I cannot get off this sticky web, but thankfully Araquanid pushed through and we get up the webs. Now I'm looking at the calc here and thinking, this is relatively offensive. I think this may have been a low roll when I was looking at my calcs, so I thought I'll possibly not max attack, and that I can try and get a Leech Life off, which is good if he goes like Hard Serena or something like that. But my opponent is going to show to be a protein with Thunder Punch, and that is going to take me out. Slightly saddened that I'm just sacking Araquanid, though it didn't really have, after being paralyzed, a reliable way of being in this game, as everything, even in the webs, would outspeed me, and then I couldn't risk rather the Serena being able to get a spin off of me, or any of these mons being able to set up. After this, I'm going to go into my Mega Glalie. I realized actually electric, since my opponent didn't have an electric type, it's actually a really good defensive type into this specific team that I brought. Mega Glalie's Earthquake was actually my best way of trying to deal with this, and if it was a max HP set, which it was relatively close to, I think it had some defense, I actually don't kill, but this is my best way of trying to damage this down. And it can also potentially switch out. So I'm just going to Mega and click EQ. Unfortunately, we don't get the kill, but his Drain Punch is not going to take me out. It's going to do a large chunk, but I don't really need that much health on Glalie, since there really isn't a whole lot of priority on the team, other than like a Shadow Sneak Serral Edge. So that's not too bad. We can deal with this. I do believe I'm going to elect to just click Return, or just EQ again, on to the Obstacoon switch, and he does show to be Define. We are going to get a 25% damage off, but this is going to force me out. I'm going to go into my Klefki, unfortunately having to prop my red card, but I don't want anything else being on and taking this +2 hit. Thankfully it does Body Press, which is based on its defense, so I don't actually get hit that hard. I feel like that was a slight... I do believe my opponent had Knockoff, and I feel like Knockoff at +2 definitely killed my Glalie. I would have checked Hisuian Zorak coming in, or just got rid of an item on any of my other mons that would come in. I think Body Press may have not been the best thing to click, especially if I just went hard Hisuian Zorak, but in his defense that would have been a really ballsy play to click. So we are going to send that out, and unfortunately Serena comes in. I know my best play is to just go Hisuian Zorak, and that's very predictable, but I cannot let this spin. If this spins, this entire game is over. So I'm going to go Hisuian Zorak, and my opponent's going to drop kick. Good play on my opponent. I am going to get some Sludge Bomb damage off this, and then we are going to die. I believe I slightly high rolled on that, as my Sludge Bomb I don't think was a guaranteed 2-hit KO. I did do good damage on it, but this was good for me. I believe I am just going to go straight into my Mega Glalie again, or I might go Overquill. Yeah, we're going to go Mega Glalie. I didn't want to risk the Overquill in case I missed Gunk Shot. And then thankfully he's going to let me have this. I don't need to worry about removal of the webs in this game anymore. This is brilliant. Not having Serena around to spin is so good. And I do think he had a little bit of a difficult time spinning in the rest of this game. A Terra Play Rough Go-Go, I do believe, killed this. It can only really do it on the Klefki, but it was still an option my opponent had. I believe he could have just sacked the Kecleon here, as it didn't really do a whole lot in the rest of the game. He's just going to go Serral Edge now, as I don't really do anything to this. I'm immediately going to go Overquill to get the Intimidate drop, and then as I outspeed this, I believe naturally, so it does reveal to be Boots, and it's going to immediately go out onto me, into the Nidoqueen on the crunch. We're going to do a decent bit of damage. I believe I elect to click Destiny Bond here, thinking that it's just going to Earthquake into me, and it shows that it's not going to click Earthquake, it's going to click Fire Blast, which means it is a special set, which is fine. Fire Blast hits everything else very hard, so I do understand. But sadly I couldn't get this down with the Destiny Bond, though I am going to force it out. So I don't die, but it can't hit me anymore, and I get a free hit into my opponent, getting that crunch and killing that Kecleon. Kingdra's going to come out. This was a hard decision for me. I could just immediately kick Destiny Bond, but since I think this set is a focus energy set, I do not want to give it a free focus energy. Now, I may also not have the brightest move of, if I kick Destiny Bond and it clicked that focus energy, he wouldn't be able to hit me next turn. But I was also thinking this could be a focus energy agility set, and this Destiny Bond would just allow my opponent to set up and become faster than me and become a major issue. So I just elected to kick Taunt on this, and they do just take me out. That is fine. Overquill would only really be able to Destiny Bond for the rest of this matchup, or potentially try and crunch the Serral Edge, but I doubt he'd ever keep the Serral Edge in on my Overquill. From this position, I can just go into my Mega Glalie and click Freeze Dry. And thankfully, it's no like Yachi Berry set, which in the moment I was thinking, oh god, this could just lose me the game. But this does give in a free Serral Edge. I'm going to elect to sack the Klefki. My opponent was smart into not immediately clicking SD, as I could have just T-Wave this. Go-Go is now my last hope. I need to get rid of the Serral Edge, and I need to chip down that Obstagoon. Otherwise, I just lose. Thankfully, I have a good Terra matchup into the Obstagoon, and I Terra out as something this is super effective against. I'm going to elect to click Trailblaze so that I can guaranteed outspeed this as my opponent clicks SD. Now, it is a roll for my Earthquake to now kill this Pokemon, if it is no bulk. We found out after the match, and I was shown the pace, this was a very defensive Serral Edge. And we click EQ, and thankfully we get a critical hit. Now, I don't really normally like getting crits. I know it's a part of the game, but sometimes it feels just a bit cheesy. Other than, those times where like, give me a crit, give me a crit. This actually meant I didn't auto lose, as this can just kill me with Bitter Blade afterwards, I do believe, at +2. And it showed to be, in the set my opponent showed me, was Shadow Claw and Phantom Force. So it wasn't even Poltergeist. I guess they predicted the no item on rather, it must have been the Araquanid, or like the Go-Go, or something to be no item so that Poltergeist couldn't hit. Fantastic prep on my opponent's part, especially being such a defensive Serral Edge, though the luck was in my favour at this point. We're going to play on, and my opponent's going to go into Nidoqueen. I am a Salt Vest, and this is shown to be special, so Sludge Wave should actually not kill me. I think there's a chance it doesn't even 2-hit KO me, so I can just click Earthquake on this Pokemon. It shows to be very bulky, but we are going to be able to take it out and live with 51 health. Now, we come to the final bit. I could click Horn Leech on this, however, Horn Leech into Return of Mega Glalie, it rather was a roll or just didn't KO. I have to land Play Rough. If I miss Play Rough, I completely lose. Play Rough does not even guaranteed OHKO this from this range. I think this was quite a bulky Obstagoon, and it is just going to get a +2. Now, both of my remaining Mons outspeed this, since we do know it's leftovers from the previous turn it was in. We managed to land the Play Rough. He goes for the Double Edge, and it's a double down. We win. I think I played well in this match, and I think my opponent played exceptionally well as well. I think we both had very good prep. My opponent appeared in all of its spreads to not be fast on anything. So the main reason we had webs up is because I was so worried about Scarfers being able to take on Mega Glalie. It's not bulky. You just bring a Scarfer, it gets destroyed pretty much. Him bringing such a bulky team made it difficult for me, as I was, one, very offensive in this, and two, relying a lot on speed on my mons. Like, Mega Glalie had a lot of speed, Go-Goat had a decent amount of speed, Overquill, max speed, Zorok, pretty much max speed, which was slightly wasted. Though, that is draft. If my opponent had brought faster stuff, it would have been easier for me to win, but as a match perspective, it would be really good into me. But so was bulky sets. I want to thank my opponent. I know there was a slight upset after the match, because yes, that crit did win me the game, but unfortunately, that's Pokemon. My opponent played very well, built very well, and had a good plan going in. He had an amazing team, and who knows, maybe we'll see each other in the future. Hope you guys all enjoy, and please continue to watch the rest of my Moonlit Battlers Alliance playoffs. Thank you.